Yo, what's going on? What's going on, Arkansas Razorback fans? Welcome to Tusk Talk with Ty Postgame, the last regular season postgame show for football. Thank God. Disappointing end. Arkansas, yet again, beats themselves over and over and over again. Don't want to hear any excuses about snow. Don't want to hear any excuses about the same shit that Mizzou had to deal with, and they played fine. Don't see the turnovers there with Mizzou, so I don't want to hear that. The ball just not bouncing their way. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Check out all the links provided for you down below. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. 501-244-3667. Again, that's Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. 100 to 5-star reviews. Free estimates, quality parts. Again, their link is provided for you down below. What was that line that was said by someone in the media about if Arkansas can't compete on NIL, can't compete, whether, and this was, of course, before the revenue sharing stuff, but if they can't compete in the NIL and they can't get it going, then they should leave the SEC. I don't know. I'm just I think I saw that post on Twitter. And I think it was a media member who had said that on a particular message board. Hey, you beat Tennessee. Hey, you beat. All right, yeah, we did it. We're going to Memphis to play a bowl game. Oh, my God, the mistakes, the penalties, the turnovers. Weather sucks. But, like an old ball coach told me in junior high, well, they got to play in it too. I hate that excuse. I hate that excuse. I hate it. It's, it'd be different if you're playing the Buffalo Bills, where they have this every single weekend in November into December, that's different. And you're from like Los Angeles or you're from Texas, right? I'm so bothered with this loss because it's another one of those games where it actually felt like Arkansas was the better team on the field. Good news. We do have some good news. Landon Jackson, who had to miss quite a bit of the game, he apparently is fine. Hunter Yurchek reported that he's okay. His hospital visit was precautionary or whatever, so that's good. That's good. I saw Stewart got hurt there at the end, but I cannot tell you guys how repetitive this feels. For me, as someone who reports on the Hogs, covers them, it's quite literally my life, right? Every day. I'm waking up. I'm trying to, find whatever information I can, trying to get stuff going for the portal, try to get stuff going for the week matchup, for that week's matchup. And it feels like deja vu every single postgame. And it's just so frustrating that we're right here again where you felt like maybe Arkansas, maybe they were the better team today. They just couldn't finish it off. It's so many. It's God. I said this I think I said this in the Enemy Insider for Patreon supporters. This game reminds me a lot of Texas A&M, just in terms of the matchup. And look how it ended. Not exactly the same. Just tired of this outcome. 3 turnovers. It's just more of the same from this team. And I get it. Pittman wasn't down on the field. This was probably unlike any other week for them. I don't know how involved he was, during the week for practice. Don't know what that looked like. I'm assuming this was weather related. He didn't want to risk having to, hobble down there. I get it, man. He's got a bad hip. He didn't want to have to deal with the snow and all that and possibly some ice. That's safe. I get it. So maybe that was just a thing today. But, seeing Petrino on the sidelines by himself, though, you talk about a blast from the past. That was felt like we were in an alternate times, a different dimension. Seeing him down there, it felt like he was the head coach for a minute. It's just deja vu, and it's the same thing every time. It's the same outcome. They're not good enough where they can overcome their deficiencies. They're not good enough where they can overcome the giveaways by the defense or by the offense. The defense isn't good enough to get takeaways. They're not good enough to get consistent pressure on a quarterback with a halfway decent SEC offensive line. They're not good enough to do those things. They're not good enough to interrupt the timing between the quarterback and his receivers. Of course, Mizzou honestly couldn't throw the ball today at all. Arkansas could. Mizzou couldn't. Of course, we know their guy dealing with some injury stuff, but I really think he just couldn't. I don't know. It couldn't connect. I'm sure some of that had to do with the injury, but I thought the secondary did okay up until later on in the game. I'm going to tell you guys right now, when 15's on the field for Arkansas in the secondary, you're probably going to give up some yards. They're going to pick on him. They're going to pick on Stewart because they can. Hudson Clark, who missed that tackle. Oh, man. I mean, this is, you don't want to put this – the defense was consistently put in rough positions. Okay, Mizzou had, 14 points off turnovers. Is that right? It was 14 points, right? Now, you'll have to forgive me. The first half, I was actually in Taneytown at my in-laws' house trying to celebrate Thanksgiving. Unfortunately, I had to leave before they were able to drop the turkey, and I couldn't eat with the family. I wanted to come home, watch the rest of this game, and do my job. This is what Patreon members, I feel like, why they support me. This is why I've got sponsorships and all. Like I want to be here and I want to do the post game. But I was there for a little while so I could meet and greet folks I haven't seen in a little while. So I didn't get a chance to watch the entirety of the first half, but I'm pretty sure it's 14 points off turnovers. But it's just more of the same. Arkansas's defense is not good enough to overcome that stuff, to be put in bad positions and to bail you out. And however, up until the second half, I thought the defense actually did a pretty good job. How much of that was Missouri just missing their mark? How much of that was, just quarterback being a little banged up for Missouri? But again, appreciate the likes and retweets, by the way. Make sure you're going to the Tusk Talk Twitter page if you could and retweet that. That would be fantastic. Yeah, when I say retweet, that's what I appreciate. You got like Michael Kerper and John Hawes who retweet. But make sure you're going to the actual Tusk Talk Twitter and just retweet that, because that's got the actual thumbnail and everything. For whatever reason, when you guys retweet on your own, like you share the link, which is what I tell you to do, for whatever reason, it doesn't share the thumbnail appropriately. It's really strange. I don't know why it does that. All right. Again, make sure you guys, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Appreciate everybody over on ASN Facebook. John Carter on Facebook says, is anyone surprised? Ethan Miller over on Arkansas Sports Network Facebook says, who's ready to give your hard-earned money to this team for NIL? Pittman has to go, says Christopher Cox. 6-6 in year 5 is a joke. Same typical loss to Missouri every year. Well, last year you just got blown out. Last year you just got blown the hell out. This program is not good from the coaches down to the players. Let's all be realistic about it. They suck. Cameron Gray with a $5 super chat says, why are people happy about only beating Tinner? I would be happy if we just beat our rivals and lost every other game. That's from Cameron Gray on the super chats. I do appreciate that. Oh, cool. We got AI chat summary now in our summary in our feed. Now that's interesting. I've never seen that before. Again, shout out to Arkansas Sports Network for hosting the stream over there as well. Make sure if you're on ASN watching to like and follow their page. No, it's not a call-in show. Not a call-in show. I got leftovers on the way, boys. I got leftovers on the way, and I don't want to keep them waiting too long. But this, I mean, you know, we'll go for a little bit here. We got a lot to talk about. So which bowl we going to? If I had to guess, I don't know. I feel like Liberty Bowl, probably the AutoZone. Some positive, but lots of frustration this season, says Megan. Next week, Courtney, Mims, and myself, we're going to do a recap on the year. I'm probably going to have a couple of recaps on the year. I'm probably going to bring on just about anybody I can get my hands on. I'm probably going to get QB Spotlight, Stephen Hamner. I'm going to bring on, I'm sure I'll reach out to Mason Choate, get him on. We might just do a call-in show. What'd you think? Appreciate all the super chats. Anybody notice the sideline when Tesla caught the fourth down pass? Absolutely no reaction. I didn't see that, Bobby. James Swope says the toilet bowl. That's the bowl game. Listen, I get. Yeah, after last year, great. You won 2 more games. You're going to a bowl game. You feel, again, depending on who comes back next year, you know, God, it's good for those people. We know Sam's coming back unless someone steps in and says no. Someone with some influence. Someone with some money. I don't know. I saw John Neighbors tweet. And I couldn't agree more. And of course I didn't screen cap it, but it was something to the effect of, you know, Arkansas fans just not really being as excited. And I just couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. The excitement for the football program is the lowest. And listen, I'm born and raised in Fayetteville, Arkansas. When I say active on social media, I mean I've been there. I'm not a constant tweeter. You're not going to see me in anybody's replies much anymore. Like, I just haven't for several years. I'm just not that guy. I just haven't cared to. I like to do everything just through live shows and attract you guys here, just back up everything I can say. Plus, I feel like you have a better dialogue here than you can on social media. Clickbait is nice, right, on Twitter. Getting the follows and all that, it looks great. But I've been around for a minute, man. I know a lot of you have as well. I'm not sure I've ever seen a fan base just over it. I've never seen a fan base just completely over it, you know, and that's what's wild. John said, and this was yesterday. No, hold on. Yeah, it was yesterday, November 29th. At 3:36 p.m., he tweeted, "I've been a Hog fan my whole life, student at the U of A, media covering the team for 10 years. Players, coaches, ADs, all come and gone. Currently, this is the most disconnected the fan base has been from the Razorbacks. Been noticing for a while. Past month has really showcased it." And I think you're probably speaking to Bud Walton Arena, you know, and that's weird because you have a Hall of Fame, your third Hall of Fame coach coaching, you know, the Razorbacks, and then obviously football. And I think, too, the combination of baseball, you know, getting eliminated in your own damn regional back-to-back years, not making it to a super when the prediction is always, you know, Omaha for the last several years. Football listen, yeah, they're not wrong when local media tell you, when you wake up Monday morning and you hear Bo Mattingly and Chuck Barrett and you listen to everyone on the radio tell you, well, the expectation was about 5 to 6 wins. They did that. That was the expectation. I think the point is just missed on people sometimes. Like, the bar is set so low. That's what's so upsetting, is that we can make that prediction and it come true as though, like, that's a good thing. Like, if I were to say, they're only going to win 4 games this year, and then they only win 4 games that year, well, that's not good. So, again, just because you make a prediction or your expectations aren't high to begin with, you know, don't tell people like, yeah, but you know what? You thought they'd only win 6, and guess what? They won 6, Ty. I'm sorry. I would like maybe a couple of more. There were some games within reach. This one is a good example. All I'm asking is that you don't turn the ball over 3 or 4 times a damn game and actually find a way to win these games. I'm happy they won Tennessee. I'm happy they went on the road and they beat Auburn. I guess. I don't know. It's we are to be content, I guess. I don't know. Sad they set the bar to win that many a pathetic joke. QB runs up the middle for 30 yards. Honestly, time-wise, you didn't mind it. You had a timeout left. You had, a minute 40-something to play in the fourth, and Arkansas had found a little bit of rhythm on offense. Again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. You know it. I'm going to gripe about that YouTube algorithm. It is a son of a bitch. Reggie Allen over on ASN Facebook says this team is bad. Taylon Green hit the portal. Well, if you think Taylon Green was the problem today, I don't know what game you were watching. I mean, did he miss Armstrong on that throw where he threw behind him? Yeah. Did he fumble? Yeah. But at one point, this dude was like 12 of 15 throwing, had almost 150 yards of total offense by himself in the first half. I mean, he's going to fumble the ball because that's what he does. This team, no one fumbles the ball like this team. Nobody. No one turns the ball over like the Razorbacks. It's insane. JaQuindon got them going too. JaQuindon ended up having a pretty decent game. I mean, obviously 3 rushing touchdowns is pretty good. I think what changed for Mizzou is when Carroll started getting the ball more, and that opened things up for Brady Cook. It made Brady's job a little bit easier. I thought at some point Arkansas should probably, maybe try and rush 4. I think that 3-down lineman thing got them cooked. The run game, Mizzou started to establish a run game, and then Arkansas would start to float somebody up closer to the line of scrimmage. Theo Weiss, who had that 70-yarder, that was just a missed tackle. I think that was off man coverage. That was when Hudson Clark missed the tackle. Hudson honestly played okay. Wasn't bad other than that play. Again, please forget. I'm sure there was something in the first half I might have missed, but Armstrong was fantastic. Armstrong helped Green out a lot today. 9 catches, 128 yards. However, 5 different receivers caught the ball. Isaac Teslaw had 6 catches for 59 yards. Luke Haas, I think, was targeted 4 times. He caught 3 of which for 22 yards. JaQuindon, 2 for 14. Centennial, 1 for 6. That throw at the end, I think that was I'm pretty sure that was Centennial in the end zone. Was that Norwood that batted that throw down? I didn't catch who that was. What a throw. Oh my God, had Centennial caught that, and of course the Missouri DB just made a hell of a play. A hell of a play. Wow. I mean, that was impressive. Green made a few of those throws today. Not quite like that one, but of course that one was incomplete. But he made a couple of just dime drops. And then he made his typical Green mistakes. He made his typical, there's Green. There's the Green we all know and love right there. He had a couple of drops by Razorback receivers. I thought the pass blocking was good. No, but I really don't think for the most part until the end of that game, when all of a sudden, Mizzou's trying to ratchet up a little bit of pressure, tackles got a little bit overwhelmed, especially on the right side. You could see him flying right to Green. For the most part, I felt like the offensive line looked pretty good. I thought, you can't hang this on the offensive line. They were opening up gaps for the running backs to run through. There were several times where I thought Green, just tuck the ball, man, and run. I know. We're not supposed to do that whole what do they call it, sideline quarterback stuff. But I don't know, man. We've seen that time and time again where he's had gaps to run through. And instead, he just tries to out-trot whoever's applying pressure. Then he just tries to outrun him and ends up either throwing the ball away or getting a minimal gain when he had a gap right there to run through. He's got to tuck that ball more, and we've talked about that all year long. That's been one of my biggest complaints all year, is that Green doesn't tuck the ball. Mistakes, and it's weird to me that we're again. I see people on Twitter saying that these things aren't a reflection of the coaching staff. I had someone tweet at me today about Arkansas. When I said Arkansas, no one beats Arkansas like Arkansas. Someone said, "Oh, I bet they'll put this all on Sam." Listen, at some point, 10 penalties for 72 yards, 3 turnovers, or was it 2? 3 turnovers, whatever it was. Feels like 3. 2 turnovers to 0 at some point. Yeah, it's kind of a reflection of the coach. I'm sorry. Because it's every single week. The mistakes just pile up with this team every single week. Appreciate everyone for being here again. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you're new, we got another super chat, Mr. T-Dub. You want the pulse of the fan base, of this fan base, call me. This program is dead. That's Mr. T-Dub. I've never seen AI come into a live chat before. That's very distracting. We're going to lose 20-plus players to the portal and get blown out by Jacoby Criswell. Oh, my God. Could you imagine? Oh, man. That would be the most Arkansas thing to do. Hey, transplanted Texan. I appreciate you for retweeting. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Ball security is coached. You fumble. You don't play. Let me read that again. This is from Mike and them. This guy went, oh, man, he doesn't comment much, but when he does, he brings a lot of facts with him. Ball security is coached. You fumble, you don't play. Oh, I'm sorry. My mic turned itself down. So this mic has this function. When I yell, it automatically turns itself down. I apologize if it does that. Thanks for telling me in chat. It's frustrating because I really think we're better. We were the better team. Am I crazy in thinking that Arkansas was the better team today? That, again, if you take away, I swear to God, they had a 3rd turnover. It says 2 on ESPN. Am I nuts? Was it just 2? Let's see. Green's fumble. DeBinion fumble. Was there not a 3rd? I feel like there was. Green and Jackson both fumbled for turnovers. Well, I thought it was DeBinion that fumbled. Okay, we fumbled 3. We lost 2. That's right. You're right. You had more yards. Let's go over this. Listen in. Come in. Let's talk. Let's chat this out. Mizzou on 3rd down was 6 of 15. Now, they started off bad. Both teams were like one of their first 6 on 3rd down. 4th down efficiency, Mizzou was 2 of 3. 361 total yards, 168 yards passing, 10 of 20 for Cook. Again, I think he was dealing with something, but he still just looked way off, and then all of a sudden he started playing better. That's why I don't fully buy that he was hurt. Like, he's turned it up as the game went on. I think Arkansas' secondary just did a pretty good job. These guys had almost 200 yards rushing, 193. 47 attempts. Yeah, the weather had a lot to do with that. 4.1 yards per carry, 7 penalties for 46 yards. 0 turnovers, 31 minutes, 39 seconds of time of possession. Arkansas goes 3 of 11 on 3rd down. At one point in time, Arkansas was one of the top 3rd down offenses in the country. They go 3 of 11 today, 2 for 3 on 4th down, 377 yards. Yeah, you out, you had more yards. How many? What is that, the 2nd, 3rd time they've done that this year in a loss where they outgained the opponent? 229 yards passing. Green, again, it's just like we expect. He's going to turn the ball over. He's going to miss some easy targets. And then he's going to have moments where you're like, okay, damn. All right, that was nice. That was pretty. I think at one point he had completed something like 7 of 9 passes. Or 8 of 10 passes at one point. Like, just on fire. Didn't throw an incompletion for like 2 quarters. 6.5 yards per reception, 148 yards on the ground for Arkansas off 35 attempts. That's 4.2 yards a carry. 10 penalties for 72 yards. So 3 more penalties, more yards on penalties, 2 turnovers. 3 times Arkansas put the ball on the ground. 3 times. Again, Taylor Green goes 21 of 35 for 229 yards. Jaquindon was 18 carries, 87 yards. That's almost 5 yards a carry. 3 touchdowns. That's not half bad. That's not half bad. Taylor Green, 14 carries, 53 yards. His longest run from the line of scrimmage was 11 yards. DeBinion, who did not see the game after his second carry, looked like he got banged up, had 2 carries for 6 yards. Rodney Hill, 1 carry for 2 yards. Did he not put the ball on the ground too? Andrew Armstrong, 9 catches, 128 yards. Another high volume of targets, catches, and yards, and yet nothing in the end zone. That's not his fault. The offense, they struggle to finish off drives. No, they don't. I could have sworn Rodney Hill put the ball in the – I'm telling y'all, today, it's the deja vu thing. You know, you mix them up. Green, it says Green, Jackson, and DeBinion all put the ball on the ground. Arkansas just lost 2. Larry Worth played really well today. I saw him flying to the ball. He had 9 tackles. Danico Slaughter, 9 tackles. If this is true about their just having 2 TFLs all game long, you know, and I thought Arkansas's defensive front looked pretty good, especially to start the game. Throughout the first half, Missouri's offense was stale. Arkansas was able to actually finish, or was able to move the ball. Missouri really struggled, and it felt like if Arkansas could put together some long drives, get some points one way or another, not turn the damn ball over, they could probably win the game, and they would have. But just 2 TFLs for Arkansas. To be fair, Mizzou only had 3. Again, this is coming from ESPN. Each team had just a sack. Now, what they do give Missouri credit for is 8 pass breakups, and I'm not sure that how accurate that is. I'm not real sure on the accuracy of that. It says 8. I don't know. I don't feel like double checking it. I don't really care. It's, let's look at it this way. Also, Missouri beat the spread. The spread was 3.5. Missouri wins by 7. The over-under was at 51.5. So Arkansas will finish as you expected in SEC play. See, that's the thing we don't want to talk about, right? That's the thing some of the media, some folks, whether it's radio, whatever, that's what they don't want to talk about. They want to say, well, 6-6, you're going to a bowl game. Look, you predicted 6 wins and you got 6 wins. What, come on. Let's ignore the fact that Sam Pittman has 1 win in 2 years versus a team that finished with a winning record. And yet again, you finish below. I mean, you're 3-5 in conference this year. You've won 4 conference games in 2 seasons. That alone is a giant red flag if you're an athletic director. 1 win. Check my math. I'm pretty sure that's right. We knew he sucked. We were right. Why can we have a Hall of Fame baseball coach by Kentucky's head coach and yet can't beg, borrow, or steal a head football coach, says Brett Robinson. Gary Davis says they're 1-12 in 1-score games. We can't score the ball, says Lance Hamilton. Does Arkansas really deserve to go to a bowl? The football world in which this is true is so lame, says Hunky Dory. Brian says typical Arkansas choke. Yep. If fans are tired of this coach, don't buy bowl tickets, says Transplanted Texan. I have a sneaking suspicion I mean, depending on the bowl game, I really wonder what it's going to look like as far as folks going to the game, going to the bowl game. I really wonder what that looks like. I don't want to jump to any conclusions. My God, the playoff committee, they got their hands full. Holy crap. Do you think he is fired if we lose the bowl game? No. Nope, I don't. Because at that point, you're really asking for it. You're really asking for it if you try to make a coaching change after. I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm sure someone might lose their job if they lose in a bowl game, but I don't think that's going to happen. You know, the belief is that revenue sharing is what's going to keep him here. That's the belief, and that's why a lot of P3, P4 conference teams are not making any moves. It's because they're terrified with this whole revenue sharing stuff. Mr. T-Dub, I missed a super chat. I apologize here. What are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 super chats. The O-line is bad. I don't know if they can semi-block, if they can keep getting penalties that cost us points. They are bad. Sorry, in my opinion. Again, I kind of thought today they actually did a pretty decent job. How much of that was because of the weather? I don't know. I thought the offensive line honestly gave Green more than enough time. I really did. And I'm going to say this. I mean, I get it. Playing in snow, anyone who played junior high school football, or any sport that's outside in the snow, but especially football, the hits sting. I never played in snow, but I played in cold weather. I remember that. Your lungs are on fire. It's difficult. Moving your feet, they're frozen. Your toes are frozen. I can remember wrapping my feet up. Your toes are frozen. It's difficult. I get that, but my point is both teams had to deal with this. Both teams had to deal with the environment, and at the end of the day, this was about who can adapt to it quicker and who can not turn the damn ball over. We knew Arkansas was going to lose that battle. I mean, come on. Come on. Missouri beats Arkansas again. Yeah, donate harder. That'll fix it. NIL is again, you talk about having your hands tied behind your back. I don't envy those guys. I don't envy Arkansas Edge. You're going to have to hope for some big wins in basketball. You're going to have to hope baseball. You know, I mean, I expect they're going to be fine during the regular season, knock on wood, but you need wins wherever you can get them. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm worried about this 2025 class on signing day. I'm not going to go into exact details, but I'm a little bit concerned about signing day. I'm a little bit concerned about who's going to hit the portal. I'm a little bit concerned about Sam, you know, going into the offseason and him, you know, making these, you know, he's like the president, right? He's got to fill out his cabinet. And I don't think hitting Bobby Petrino was a miss. I don't. Some of you, and I was having this conversation with Arky56 on the phone just yesterday, he was shocked by one stat in particular with this offense. I don't know where they end up finishing, but I know coming into this game, this is the 9th overall offense in the country in yards. Before you start barking and chew my head off, yes, I've been quoted as saying points matter more, and I agree with that, yes. However, I think you could argue that some of the changes on defense and then what you did with the coordinator position and what you're seeing here, 5,000 total yards of offense, 5,037. That's 460 yards per game. That's pretty good. And I think that's why you're probably going bowling. That's why you finished with 6 wins. I know we're throwing our hats up in the air in celebration about that, but I don't think Pittman missed on hiring Bobby Petrino, but there's got to be some changes on the defensive staff. You know, they have got to do a better job, and I harped on this all offseason. Go get some guys at corner. Go get some ballers in the secondary because they're struggling. Outside of the Metcalfs, at times Hudson Clark actually was pretty good. But, man, they're hurting it in the secondary. Of course, you didn't have Braxton. You got a little banged up, but that's the point. You got a little banged up, and it's like the bottom fell out a little bit with this team. They couldn't handle a couple of injuries. And listen, I get it. A lot of teams are going to struggle with a couple of injuries, but Arkansas really struggled with, and it's not like, Braxton was never available this year, really. What did he play? 1 game? 2 games? How many games did he play? How many snaps did he take? It's not like this was a surprise halfway through the year and everything just fell to shit. But Arkansas's offense, yes, scoring matters more, but that doesn't mean total offense doesn't matter at all. Don't mess that up. Don't get that twisted. Having the ability to move the ball matters. And by the way, they actually did pretty decent in conference play. I think up until this game, they're averaging over 400 yards a game in SEC play. Again, I'll check my math, but I'm pretty sure that's right. They just couldn't finish off drives. They couldn't stop. I mean, think about that. Think about that. With all the turnovers, all the fumbles lost, the interceptions, the missed throws by Green, the overthrows by Green, the drop passes, as pitiful as this offensive line had played at times, and they still finished north of 5,000 yards of offense. Now, again, this game's going to bring that number down. They're probably going to – I don't know where they end up. I mean, it just depends, right? And then, of course, you're going to include the teams that get the 13th game in the conference championship and in the playoffs and all that. Teams are going to stack up more plays. But still, at any point, to say that by the end of the year, actually, you were able to move the ball, you just couldn't score. And you couldn't stop. You couldn't not beat yourself. At the end of the day, that's – God, it just stings, man. That's why it stings a little more. It's like, yeah, listen, you went 6-6 as predicted. But it's the way, it's the fact that you felt like actually we might be kind of close to the offense being overall good. If you couldn't just, if Green could hold on to the ball. If the offense didn't have all these penalties and these mistakes. And you know what you're going to hear Pittman say. Oh, take away those mistakes. We probably got 6,000 yards of offense, and we're probably averaging 30 points a game in SEC play. I mean, I fully expect that. I'm not trying to mock the guy, but I mean, I could hear that in my head. I can hear it. You know what he's going to say. And to be honest with you, he's not entirely wrong if he says that, but it's still the fact that it's the way in which this happened every single game. It was beyond expected. You knew it was going to happen. Of course, there's snow on the ground. No kidding. They're going to turn the ball over a lot. They turn the ball over. Well, they put the ball on the ground more than any team in the country. Of course, they're going to turn the ball over twice and fumble it 3 times. I shocked Arky 56 with that one. I did. He was like, wait, what? They're where? 9th in total offense. But, boy, when you look up that total scoring offense, it's just another story. And that's the thing you hope they get figured out in the offseason. They were running the ball really effectively in the beginning of the year, and then what happened to that? Brian Fraser, fire Sam, yes or no? Listen, I don't think it's as simple as that, because I don't understand how this revenue sharing thing, like, it feels to me like that's what they are preparing for. And I don't know what comes with that. I don't know why. I guess you just don't have the money. I don't know. If I had the money, listen, if you had the money and you knew you had some really good options, yeah, you probably would walk away from Sam. Yes. Rush 4. Shut up. That would be insane. This is Chris Wise. I don't know what that's. I mean, I certainly thought they should have mixed it up a little bit better. I don't know if you're talking to me or not. Ty Hudson 2.0. Clever. Need Green to go. No, I want Green back. I disagree with that. And I'll tell you why. Because for all the things he got wrong, he certainly did some things that were right. And I have said this since spring camp, that Malachi was never really given a fair shake at the one spot, at least not as far as I know. I mean, I certainly never saw him work with the ones. I want them both back. I want them both back in the offseason, and I want them to compete. And the best man win. That's what I want. You're starting somewhere with Green. You kind of feel like with what he did at Boise State and then the fact that it followed him here, I don't know that much changes. I don't know. I'm going to say this much. He was coming into this week again, when you look at total offense, he was like the 20th overall performer in the country. He just doesn't score points, and he turns the ball over. He fumbles. I want him back just because I want a real quarterback competition, and I don't know that you're going to get that with KJ Jackson. KJ Jefferson used to say this thing, and I'm going to be honest with you. Folks snickered. It was kind of funny, but iron sharpens iron, right? Why not bring Green back? If you had a choice between the two, bring them. Well, I mean, between the two, that's a difficult call. I know 90% of you would say just Malachi and have Green hit the portal. That's not how this is going to work out. I mean, we know that. They're both going to be invited to come back. But the thing you have to tell Malachi is, Malachi, we're going to have a real quarterback battle. But imagine having Green and Malachi try to battle this thing out where Green has worked with the ones. He's got the upper hand, right? He's got the advantage. He's got the knowledge of the offense. It's his on-field habits that really hurt him. And then you got Malachi over here. You let them duke it out through the offseason. I think Malachi probably gets the offense. I don't know that I ever thought he was behind when I saw him work with the twos. I don't know that I ever thought he was lost. KJ Jackson, yeah, absolutely. Bobby Petrino chewing him out. We've all been there. Not with Bobby, of course, but with coaches chewing our asses out. We've been there. Felt bad for the guy, but at the same time, you kind of, you giggled a little bit like, damn, maybe vintage Bobby Petrino is back. But you take that into the offseason and you let those two duke it out. I do believe a true quarterback battle, it should give you the result of having the guy start, the best guy for the job start. I have a sneaking suspicion that it probably wouldn't be Green. I have a sneaking suspicion that it probably wouldn't be Green. I think Malachi I think he might beat him out. But I don't know that we're ever going to know that. Because I do feel like Malachi, I'd be shocked at this point if Malachi didn't hit the portal. 100%. The fans have to accept part 6 of a movie that was dead after 3. You sound like you're describing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Patrick. Malachi came here as a freshman, and we didn't stick by the guy that chose us first. Here's the issue I have with that, Brim. That happens everywhere. That's the world of college football. And to be real with you, that's the way it should be. If Green truly won that outright, and I would love for Pittman to be asked this question, or Bobby for that matter, if he ever got to talk to the media again. If he won that outright, then it's a different conversation. And again, I've told you guys, I felt like I only know 10% of what Bobby knows, maybe not even that. What I felt like was, Green was the guy for the job based on what little we got to see, periods 1 through 5, 1 through 4, 1 through 6, 1 through 8. Felt like Green was better. His deep ball was better. He seemed like he was just as quick with his release. He looked like he knew where he wanted to go with the ball. He looked really cool, calm, and collected. Rarely saw that dude panic in fastball. Thought he looked good in the scrimmage. I don't recall anybody, by the way, coming out of the scrimmage. I didn't hear anybody yelling for Malachi to be the starter, and that includes some of you in chat. I don't recall that being the argument. Now, maybe some of you, and again, I'm not talking about all of you, but some of you, I don't recall people screaming about having Malachi after what we got to watch in the open scrimmage. Malachi did not look like the starter. So, again, maybe Green did win the job outright. I felt like he didn't. I felt like he was just Bobby's guy. But that's the world we live in. You're going to bring in – if you're going to complain about Green doing that, then you've got to complain about Landon Jackson when he came in as a transfer and beating out guys that were here that had committed here out of high school. That's just college football now. That's just the way it is. I mean, I don't disagree. And again, it's part of that. It's we've had this conversation so many times. That's just the world that we live in. And if Green did win that job outright, so be it. However, also, we know there have been times this year where Green should have been benched, and it didn't happen. It felt like Green had a very, and I hate this, it's weird to say this, but it felt like he had a very long leash when you felt like maybe he shouldn't have. Why are we not seeing Malachi here? Malachi handled himself. The game that impressed me was Tennessee. He looked cool, calm, and collected, baby. He looked like he was going to deliver that ball. He was going to do his thing. He knew whether to tuck it and run. He's just as quick as we told you he was. Very athletic, moves well. He doesn't look that shook, doesn't look panicked the way Green does when that pocket collapses. He doesn't run into traffic. He doesn't run into a defender. He tucks it, and he runs north. He's quicker with his release. Doesn't have the arm. I think overall arm talent, that's a tough one. I mean, Malachi can throw the damn ball. You know, he can. He can throw that ball, man. He's got an arm. Green's probably got a little bit stronger arm. Arm talent-wise, I would probably go with Malachi because he's quicker on his release. Those underneath routes, those drag routes, the hitches, the slant routes, those receivers are going to benefit with Malachi in at quarterback. But that doesn't – I'm not suggesting that means you're going to score 50 points a game and all that. I felt like there should have been times when Green was benched. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. I know there's other people in the media who disagree. I've had a conversation with someone else a little bit about that, and he felt like, no, actually Green has done exactly what he's supposed to do in a first-year system with Bobby Petrino. I disagree. I felt like there were times when that Green should have been benched, but it is what it is. Field vision and ball placement, Green's offseason agenda. Yeah, for sure. I agree, Pigpen. That's got to be the thing because I think we don't know. No one's got a crystal ball. Who knows how this works out? Hell, maybe Green does hit the portal. I don't know. But if it goes as we all assume it's going to go, which is that Malachi hits the portal and Green stays, then it's about getting Green better. It's about getting Green the best weapons possible. That's it. You could choose not to cheer for the team and all that, and I get it. I'm going to be here covering them. Like I said last year when they went 4-8, I'm going to be here. We're going to be here talking about the Razorbacks. We're going to be here complaining about what needs to be complained about. We're going to be here criticizing, so on and so forth. I don't know what your point is, Brim. What do you mean? We can't talk about if he won the job, Ty. He never played with the twos at any time. Again, but Brim, sometimes you get a quarterback. It's like when Ryan Mallett was here. Tyler Wilson was never given reps with the ones. There was no quarterback. There was no battle. Ryan Mallett was him. Ryan Mallett was the guy. There was never a quarterback battle with Tyler Wilson. By the way, Ryan Mallett transferred here from Michigan. So, again, Bobby maybe working him with the ones made up his mind and watched and saw how Malachi did with the twos and decided that's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy with the twos and Green's going to be the guy with the ones. I mean, it's – not everyone operates the same. Not everyone has, they don't make their decision based on how many reps I'm going to give a guy with the ones versus the other guy with how many reps I give with the ones. Sometimes it's just as simple as you see what you got to see, right? Working with the twos or the ones. And we're all back. We're all back again this year. Yeah, I know it. With Pittman as head coach, nothing will change. Yeah. Bot Magnet just says done in all caps with the peace sign. Okay. Cool. See ya. Sam's post game was atrocious. Same old crap. At least we got a bowl game. Yeah. I don't know. I know how I feel like we all know how this is going to unfold in the offseason. I feel like we all know how this is going to unfold. Woo Pig, what's up? How y'all doing? Malachi not going to be here next season anyway, so might as well get used to complaining about Green. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Hard to be humble. I mean, at the end of the day, man, I get it. Like, I've done this for years. I've done this for so long. Everyone has a legitimate gripe. I think it's funny is I think most of you, I agree with about 90% of what you say. I may not always say things that you agree with. That's okay. It's disappointing, and it does feel like just more of the same, and it makes these post games feel like more of the same. I'm sitting here thinking like, man, I miss turkey. Hanging out with the family to sit here and talk about the very same damn thing. We knew how this was going to end at kickoff, and that's what we're tired of. Let's change the channel, right? And I'm talking about for the Razorbacks. Let's change the channel. Let's get this fixed. Can Sam Pittman fix it? I think most people would agree, probably not. You don't have any other choice again, unless someone sticks their neck out and says we've had enough. He's gone. Sam will be back, and we'll be here to discuss it. It just kind of is what it is. And it's again, going back to what Neighbors said on Twitter, I know some of you, have your own, maybe you're not a big John Neighbors fan. I'm not saying that I am, but I thought that was a really good point. Fans, it feels it's disconnected more than ever. It's unfortunate. The players deserve better, and that's not their fault. It's not the fans' fault. It's up to Hunter Yurachek and Sam Pittman to change this. And Sam seems pretty convinced that with revenue sharing and combining it with NIL that things are going to change. I don't know. I don't know, man. But again, you know what though? I am thankful. I've got a lot to be thankful for. You guys being here, Patreon supporters, my God, 123 Patreon supporters. That's insane. 80 of which are paid members. The Discord community, most of them, a lot of fun in there. Wife, kids, got a lot to be thankful for. Travis Ford, Tim Neal. I love working with those dudes on SEC Unleashed. I really do. We have a lot of fun. We goof off, but then we all, I feel like we also get straight to business when we need to, but then we have a little fun with it. We had a little English into it, little razzle dazzle into our shows. And it's a lot of fun. I like doing what I do. I've done it for a really long time. In fact, 2025 will officially have been 10 years since I started creating content on YouTube. Now, my first channel was actually called Tyzilla83. Didn't make Razorback content, but the plan was to put it all in one place. Razorback football, gaming, all sorts of stuff. And I realized that's really hard to do. But, man, I've had a blast doing it. Don't plan on changing anything anytime soon. Yeah. I'm appreciative of all that, and I do appreciate each and every one of you. Even to the people who complain and bitch and moan at me and send me some hateful shit over the years, man, I appreciate your view. Because that means when you came here to complain, you gave me a view. So I appreciate that. We got a couple more super chats here. Let me pull this up. Just finished watching the Sam Pittman presser. I've never been this down on the program as I am now. No hope for Hunter Yurachek or Sam Pittman. I had more hope in the Chad Morris era. Man, oh man. Brian Frazier said Green has been good and Green has been bad. Yeah, that's it. Kerper, I missed several super chats. My bad. Cox, by the way, Christopher Cox celebrating his 10th super chat. How many is T-Dub at? T-Dub, I feel like you're at like super chat number 100, man. Will spins to cheer us up. I don't know, man. Like I said, I got turkey supposed to be here any minute. Some leftovers. Champions with a $20 super chat. This loss is not on Green. He played well. And listen, I'm not going to disagree with this. I don't think Green, his fumble didn't help. But I thought, he made some pretty impressive throws. He did some good things. It was just more of Green like we expect Taylon Green. But he threw a pretty accurate ball most of the time. Not all the time. But again, this loss is not on Green. He played well. That final drive was as poorly coached as I've seen in a long time. They wasted about 25 or more seconds and went home with a timeout. Yeah. They didn't call a timeout on that last drive. I thought that was interesting to just draw up a play. I was very surprised by that. To just simply draw up a play. Call a timeout. You got 6 seconds on the clock. Call a timeout. It's your last play. It's your last play. Plays typically take, depending on where you're putting the ball, even if he were to throw that thing out of bounds, there wouldn't have been any time on the clock. So you're not saving a timeout. They clearly wanted to stretch the field there. Call a timeout, draw something up. I was very surprised by that. If Bobby Petrino was involved, if Sam was vetoing a timeout, I don't know if that was the case. I'm not really sure. Love Sam, but I think it's time to move on, says Brian Sander. We're too many games. We're too many games because of fumbles and penalties. Yeah, discipline. And this is stuff you can change in practice, by the way. It absolutely is. Bobby Hobson on ASN Facebook says, I bet Singleton leaves. Yeah. I'd be shocked if he didn't. Chris Corley, revenue is an excuse. Got to have a coach that can motivate and develop talent. Saban Bell. Pittman hasn't a chance. Hunter is not a football AD. He's a basketball fanboy. Well, I don't know. I mean, listen, Chris, I'm going to tell you, that's what multiple folks are reporting from other schools, that their athletic departments are trying to weigh out the storm of revenue sharing, and therefore that's why you haven't seen as many coaches fired in Power 3, Power 4 conferences. So, I don't know. Mike and them says fan morale is as low as the Chad Morris era. I think about what I said on Friday when I said that, or Thursday, excuse me. Or was it Wednesday? God, whenever the last time I went live. I said, think about the narrative flip you could have here. Think about if you had won this game and how you could have changed the narrative. And I don't know, man. I think fans will go to the bowl game. I don't know what those numbers are going to look like, but as Paul Feinbaum said, you can't keep ending the sentences with Sam is a good man. That's very true. I didn't know he said that. Did he really say that? Was Paul Feinbaum talking about Sam? Oh. If someone's got that clip, feel free to DM it to me. I'd love to see that. No, it's not. Morale is not high, but Morris era was 0. Yeah, I don't know if it's as low as the Morris era or not. I do know it's the lowest. It's low. It's very low. Count me out on football. I'll watch basketball and baseball. This is Mr. Kicks. Top 5 reasons Arkansas finished 6-6 instead of 8-4, Ty. That sounds like a question I should answer next week. That sounds like a question I might answer next week. I got to really think about that one. I mean, 5. I just want to sum it up with saying Sam Pittman is your head coach. But I know it's more complicated than that, right? The turnovers, defense inability to force turnovers, not pressuring the opposing quarterback enough, not racking up, not winning more battles along the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, receivers dropping balls, offensive line, Taylor Green. Like, I don't know. Are there 5? It feels like there's about 15 reasons. And again, I don't want you to listen. We also have to look at it, and this isn't, you won 6 games, why did you win 6? That's the real question. Why did you win 6? Your run game was terrific at the beginning of the year, despite the turnovers, despite the implosion that you had against a horrible Oklahoma State football team. But then you also made just as many mistakes. Quarterback missing wide open throws. Quarterback not hitting receivers in stride off throws. No takeaways by the I don't know why people keep letting the defense just slip. It's strange to me. Like, the focus is so hype. It's on the offense. It's on the offense's fault. And I'm over here like, wait a minute. The defense was bottom of the barrel in like most stats. What are we talking about? Today, I thought they played pretty good. They had moments this year. You go back to Tennessee, which was, as someone pointed out, yes, it was aided by the opening drive of Arkansas, eating up a ton of time. I agree with that 110%. It really set the stage for the rest of that game. Gave the defense plenty of time. You dominated the time of possession. But the defense showed up. The defense did okay against A&M. Defense showed up in a couple of games, and then they completely vanished. They just vanished. So it's like we're so hyper. This is why I told Brim a couple of weeks ago, it's the entire sandwich. It's it was a shit sandwich. It was a 6-6 shit sandwich. I mean, it's not just as simple as one area, one guy, one person, one position on the field. It was all of it. And it makes you wonder going into year 5, how much of that should just be accepted by fans. Trash Man. I think you might be new here, but welcome. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Do me a favor. I would really appreciate it. He says, sloppiest football team I've ever seen. And I agree. The penalties and the mistakes, that's the other part of it, right? The top 5 reasons, the mistakes, the penalties, the sloppiness, the underprepared, the coming out of your bye weeks, coming out of a timeout to give up that run to Cook. You were coming out of a timeout, and it just runs up the field, right up the gut for a touchdown. Calling a timeout before you go out and try a fake field goal. It's elementary school stuff sometimes. It's like, what? This is stuff I remember 7th grade football. They're calling a timeout. This is junior high league stuff sometimes. I don't understand it. I think Bo and Chuck, yeah, I hear you, Ashton. I think they always try to look at it from an athletic director's point of view. I'm not going to get on that conversation about Chuck and Bo. There's things they say I like, and there's things they say I just disagree with. I still think I think he's one of the best in the business. Just from what he does as a radio personality, I think he puts together pretty good shows. I think his shows back in the day when he had, Dudley Dawson on, and he had a whole bunch of people, it seemed like, in and out of his studio. Great call-ins, guys like Barry Switzer, right? My brain's fried. I feel like everything's just a loading screen in my head right now. But I think Bo's show back in the day was really good. That was really good sports radio. I know everyone gets caught up on the Brett Bielema stuff, but whatever. I still think he put together a really good show. I mean, it was entertaining, and you got some pretty good points of view. I learned a lot about how outsiders viewed Arkansas because of Bo's show, and it really put some things in perspective. Listening to why Barry Switzer didn't take the job at Arkansas, He had some good conversations with national media people, ESPN, Fox, some big writers from outside the state. I always thought it was just a really well put together show. I can remember when it ended, I would think, damn, the show's already over. Man, I wanted to listen to more or whatever. Cook ran right where Landon Jackson would have been, says Jeremy Robertson. Yeah, we can't act like that didn't have an impact on the game either. I mean, we really can't. Again, this is another one of those games where it's like just a couple of things. Had they gone Arkansas's way, we might be having a different conversation. Again, for how many times this year? How many times the last 3 years have we said this? And he doesn't win. What was the score? He doesn't win these one-score games. Doesn't do it. All right, my brain's fried. I'm starting to get a headache just because I'm hungry. Again, I appreciate all you guys. That's really where I was trying to end it earlier, but I am very appreciative of all of you. Please consider, if you're a Patreon member, don't forget, this is the most frequent DM I get at the beginning of a new month. Oh, Ty, I accidentally forgot to renew my card on Patreon. Don't forget, do that. We're looking like November could be the strongest month ever, and it's like that. It's like that every single month. If you upgrade to legendary status, you got a shot at winning one of these 3 kick-ass autographed cards. Right there. Yeah, Jalen Tate, autographed, buddy. Bobby Portis, autographed. That's a pretty foily one, too. JD Note, one of my favorites in the 2000s. JDN, right there, autographed if you upgrade to legendary status. You've got till tonight to do it, really. I think tonight's it. If you don't upgrade, I don't know if Patreon will count you towards this month if you wait till tomorrow. I don't know. I'm not really sure. But upgrade if you are currently a Patreon member, and you'll be eligible for one of those 3 autographed cards. But, again, I appreciate you guys, all the Patreon supporters, fellow Razorback content creators, Patreon supporters, Discord members. Appreciate you. Listen. It sucks. I guess it could always be worse. I don't think it was all bad this year. Remember, you went 6-6. There had to be some good, and there was. Just not as much as fans wanted. So we'll talk about that more next week. Again, I'm going to bring some folks on. I'm going to try and get Courtney Mims on from Pig Trail Nation. We're going to do a year in review. And I'm going to bring some other folks in. And then, of course, we're just going to transition fully into talking basketball and oh, boy. All right. Arkansas plays Miami on – that's right. Miami, right? Am I crazy? They play Miami on Monday. Yeah. They got Tuesday. Tuesday. My bad. Tuesday. So we get a day. Right. We get Sunday, then we get Monday. And then Tuesday, December 3rd, Miami. And then UTSA on the 7th. Which will be in Bud Walton Arena. So, of course, I'll be here to cover all that. I appreciate you guys again. Make sure you like, share. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. And I will see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't let this keep you up at night. Don't lose sleep. Don't miss out on food and family and friends. Right? All right. I'll see you guys next week.